Why are some inmates being hit up by debt collectors for unpaid medical bills?
Their family members are getting chased by medical bills and debt collectors, at least more than $50,000 in erroneously charged bills going to inmates and even their families. But what I can't figure out, and what I'm still trying to figure out, is how these companies are getting the names and addresses of the inmates' families. What we know who is not paying is Corizon Health.
Man, we gotta hold these debt collectors accountable. Look what they're doing.
And welcome back to Sunday Square Off. Inmates in Arizona prisons aren't supposed to pay for their medical care. Taxpayers foot the bill, almost $200 million a year. So why are some inmates being hit up by debt collectors for unpaid medical bills? And if they're being billed, how is our money for their care being spent? Big question. KJZZ radio reporter Jimmy Jenkins broke that story, part of his award-winning coverage of a prison healthcare provider here in Arizona that we pay as taxpayers that often fails to provide healthcare to inmates. Welcome back to Square Off.
Thanks, appreciate it.
I believe I told you I had to read your story twice because I did not believe it. Inmates being hit up in jail. What are these inmates telling you?
Yeah, it's shocking. They are getting medical bills sent directly to them.
Hey, that was a great question, right? We might not agree with Elon's doing, but audit of the federal and everybody, hey, we need to see what's really going on with our money, our taxpayers' money. What's really going on? Hey, that was a really good question.
Them in prison. Their family members are getting chased by medical bills and debt collectors. They range anywhere from $64 to $12,000, and these are all for
$12,000.
Yeah, one inmate, just one person. I think all told, we believe there are at least more than $50,000 in erroneously charged bills going to inmates and even their families.
So why are they even being billed? I think there's a wrinkle here that you need to explain how this is happening.
That's a great question, and I haven't, to be honest, been able to find the answer because there are so many people involved in this process. What we know who is not paying is Corizon Health, the company who's obligated by the state to pay these medical bills. But they say that when they're contacted, they take care of it immediately. But I've spoken with many inmates who have been battling these bills for over a year, and it's not getting any better, and no one's taking care of it, and no one's addressing it.
Now, it seems these are largely third-party providers, not Corizon's own providers, like a hospital outside the prison they may have to go to.
Exactly, and that's when things get more complicated. It's when Corizon contracts with a hospital, the hospital contracts with a specialty provider, that specialty provider contracts with a bill-paying service. So you have all these different areas where things can go wrong, but somewhere along the way, someone has decided to go after the inmate for this unpaid bill.
So why isn't this going through Corizon since they contract with the outside provider?
Some experts I've spoken with have assumed it would be like if you had a procedure done at the hospital, your insurer didn't pay, they'd come after you, the patient. But what I can't figure out, and what I'm still trying to figure out, is how these companies are getting the names and addresses of the inmates' families to then pursue them. And so that's something I'm going to keep looking for.
Wow. Now give us quickly the little backstory on Corizon, the coverage you've had of their federal court case. What happened there? What is that shown?
Basically, what it's showing is they have bid very lowly and aggressively on our state contract. It's for $188 million, but it's shown that the positions that they contracted for, there was not enough in the first place. They don't fill the positions that they have contracted for, and that just results in this total breakdown of the whole system. There's just not enough people there doing the day-to-day things that you need. There's not enough people to give insulin. There's not enough people to respond quickly when women have given birth in the prison. So they're just woefully understaffing, and they wait for the state to come after them to try to recoup those damages. And in the meantime, they're keeping that money that taxpayers are spending on the healthcare.
Is that analogous to what's happening here? Third-party providers go after the inmates. If the inmates pay, Corizon's off the hook.
Right. Well, I think what it shows is just an overall scheme of, you have to come after us. We're not going to upfront take care of these responsibilities that we have to. And in this case, they're saying you're going to have to come after this for these bills that are crippling the credit ratings. That's the most important thing of these inmates and their families.
So what is Corizon telling you?
They're telling me when they are contacted about an unpaid bill, they immediately step in and they take care of it. But absolutely everyone else I've talked to says that's not the case.
And what is the Department of Corrections telling you about this?
Again, everyone keeps putting the responsibilities on the inmates. They say, well, it's up to the inmates who are like, locked down, Brant, in prison.
They're in prison, right?
It's up to them to reach out to the Corizon people in the prison, or I don't know, to call the helpline and try to get these things sorted out. So there are attorneys who are, raising alarms. I'm trying to report on it, but it seems like no one is stepping in and helping these people and their families. And it's so tough because, it's already hard enough to transition successfully back out into society. And now these people are going to have to face a huge debt burden and a credit crisis that's not even their fault.
Jimmy Jenkins, great reporting. Please keep us posted.
Thanks, Brad.
When we come back, why Arizona could get hit with a double whammy.
Man, that's crazy. Just think about it. This is just in Arizona. Think about all the other states that are doing the same exact thing. That's the reason why, hey, we need to learn these specific laws to hold these specific debt collectors accountable. But most importantly, this is not the inmate's fault. This is the state's fault. They're supposed to be, or the jail system's fault, right? They're supposed to be taking care of this, but now they're, deflecting. Hey, the inmates need to take care of it. No, y'all need to take care of it. All right. This is why we need to get equipped with learning the specific laws, learning the FDCPA, learning the FCRA, and getting acquainted with attorneys and things like that, so we can leverage what we know to get these collections off our report. Now I see why the CFPB was pushing really hard to get these medical collections off of people's report. Because think about it. Just think about it for a second. This inmate have these collections on their report, right? They have these collections on their report. Now it's holding them back from getting a job. Now it's holding them back from getting insurance because their credit rating is bad based off of some of these collections that's on their report. So now they can't get a job. They can't get an apartment. It's hard enough for them to get a job based off of the specific record they have when they're an inmate. But most importantly, when it comes to their credit score, now their credit score is low. They can't get specific insurance. They can't get certain things, or the insurance is much higher based off of their credit score, because everything's matter when it comes to credit. That's the reason why I say forget about the government, forget about what they're doing. All right, we have to learn these specific laws so we can take care of ourselves and also help each other out. Because now look at this, just don't make no sense. All right, so I'm not an attorney, but I want to show you some specific laws that you can actually learn and leverage. If this happens to you, your family, or anybody else, show them what they can do to actually help them. But think about it. If these collections on their report, technically it's identity theft to me, right? Because they're not actually supposed to be on this person's credit report. So you probably need to go talk to an attorney. For now, let's just learn these specific laws. Let me show you one of the laws that you can actually learn, right? You want to Google 15 USC 1692, right? This is the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, right? Now with this specific act, right, all you have to do is just click on it and just go right here. But most importantly, you want to click on the subchapter, and then from there, what you want to do is just go to 15 USC 1692C. Now, this is with communications, right? Because these debt collectors, they be tripping sometimes. They be doing too much, and to cut communications off with them, here are some of the laws you can actually read over. Some of the things you can leverage based off of these specific laws. And one of the things you can do is cease in communication. If a consumer notifies a debt collector in writing that the consumer refused to pay this debt, or that the consumer wishes the debt collector to cease further communication with the consumer, the debt collector shall not communicate further with the consumer with the respect of such debt. All right. Now, as you can see with the specific laws, and then of course you can continue reading on and read the whole entire thing. But those are one of the things you can leverage. So if they put this account on somebody's report, right? Or if they put this on your family member's report, now you can leverage this specific law. But most importantly, since they put it on their report, now you leverage this. If they violate this law, since they put it on their report and you're supposed to be on there, now we can leverage the law. Now we can leverage this thing and sue these debt collectors and sue the credit bureaus and things like that. All right. So get acquainted with these specific laws so you can help your family out. All right.